listen up. There's a date coming June 30th, 2025. That's not just another Tuesday. Think of it like a quiet alarm clock for your soul. Are you going to hit snooze or are you going to wake up? Many days just drift by, don't they? Like a soft wind you barely notice. But then there are days that carve themselves into time, not for the headlines they make, but for the deep current of energy they carry. This June 30th isn't just a mark on your calendar, it's a dividing line, a moment that will clearly show who's been sleepwalking and who's truly awake, who's just drifting and who's consciously walking their own path. When the source, the universe, God, whatever name you use, signals, everything shifts on June 30th. It's not for a cheap thrill. It's not meant to scare you or get you hyped up. It's a profound, almost silent heads up, sent specifically to those who've bothered to quiet down enough inside to actually hear it. The world, it's a non-stop shouting match. Every day, you're hit with a barrage of noisy voices telling you what to buy, who to be, what to fear, what to chase. This outer chaos yanks you every which way, pulling you off the only journey that truly counts, the one inside yourself. So many people are chasing after big, dramatic signs. They're waiting for a thunderclap, something loud, something they can't deny. But sometimes the divine moves in the quiet space between your breaths. Sometimes it speaks when all the external racket finally dies down. That soft signal before the big change isn't a threat, it's an invitation, an offer. But only those who've trained their ears, their hearts, their very awareness to pick up the frequency of truth will get what's being offered. You don't hear a whisper like this with your physical ears. You feel it with your whole being, with your sharpened awareness. To tune into it, you've got to clear out the inner static, the constant chatter, the anxieties, the ego trips, the endless wanting. Why will most people miss the boat on June 30th? Because they're too busy scanning the horizon for what they want to see, instead of getting themselves ready to perceive what is. See, when your cup is already full of your own opinions, there's no room for wisdom. When you're crammed with expectations, you can't recognize the genuinely new, the unexpected. This is precisely why true seekers, the monks, the sages, the disciplined spiritual warriors train in inner stillness. They know, deep in their bones, that only in that inner quiet, that emptiness, can divine truth actually pour in. There's a silent preparation that absolutely must happen. Just like a tree quietly gathers its strength all winter for the explosion of spring, your spirit has to prepare in that same inner quiet for its moment of profound awakening. Many folks think big change strikes like lightning out of a clear sky. But real transformation, the kind that reshapes your very soul, that starts way before you see any cracks on the surface. It begins when you start paying attention to those little nudges inside you, when your daily habits begin to shift almost on their own, when your thoughts become clearer, more focused, when you find yourself choosing inner peace over pointless arguments, self-discipline over easy comforts, mindful awareness over constant distraction. These aren't just random little things, they're the vital signs that your inner landscape is starting to vibrate in response to a much deeper call. And what is that call? It's the quiet voice of your own higher destiny, the voice that's gently telling you, get ready, get aligned, cleanse yourself. It's not yelling, because yelling is for the untrained, the reactive. Whispers, those are for the ones who are truly ready, the worthy. When a true martial arts master trains, they're not looking for applause or likes, they're preparing in disciplined silence for a challenge nobody else even sees coming. It's exactly the same for your spiritual journey. You are being prepared for a significant shift, and this shift isn't going to send out a press release. It won't beg for your attention, it won't ask for your permission. It will simply arrive, and when it does, it won't favor the loudest or the most arrogant. It will lift up those who are genuinely ready. Think of a world-class musician who spent years practicing day in, day out in total focused silence. The moment they step on stage, people whisper, "Wow, so talented." But what the audience doesn't see are those thousands of hours of silent, dedicated mastery. The exact same principle applies to your soul. When June 30th rolls around, the world will look around and scratch its head, wondering why some people seem to rise with incredible clarity, peace, and inner strength, while others just crumble into confusion, fear, and frustration. The answer is dead simple. Those who heard that quiet signal before the storm were already walking their truth. They didn't need the world to shake them awake, they had already woken themselves up. The world usually demands proof before it believes anything. But the spiritual path isn't about waiting around, it's about becoming. If you're constantly waiting for signs, you'll never ever be the sign. The divine doesn't give you a message so you can just sit there twiddling your thumbs. It gives you a message so you can stand up, so you can take action, so you can strip away all the false identities, the unhealthy attachments, the meaningless goals. That whisper before the storm is divine mercy. It's the chance to get your house in order before the shift becomes obvious to everyone. You don't need the sky to fall to start believing. You just need to feel that pull in your soul and have the courage to follow it. This is why silence is sacred, not just because it's quiet, but because it allows you to hear what the ordinary, distracted ear can never pick up. There are some truths that only a still heart can truly receive. And so, you must train yourself not in how loudly you can broadcast your opinions, but in how deeply, how attentively you can listen. You've got to ask yourself, when the world makes its noise, do you just react blindly, or do you pause and reflect? When fear rears its head, do you run screaming, or do you breathe and center yourself? When the whole crowd stampedes in one direction, do you just follow like a sheep, or do you stand still for a moment and ask why? Those who've heard that inner whisper understand that life isn't about knee-jerk reactions, it's about conscious, wise responses. But you can't respond with wisdom if you haven't first trained yourself in that inner silence. So many people live in a state of constant reaction. Their emotions are their puppet masters. Their fears put blinders on them. Their attachments are like chains. And so when the real storm hits, they're thrown into utter panic. They'll cry out, "Why didn't anyone warn me this was coming?" But the truth is, the divine did speak, it whispered. And they were just too caught up in the drama to hear it. Discipline, true discipline, is the art of sharpening your awareness. It's not about self-punishment, it's about achieving crystal clarity. The reason a warrior trains every single day isn't because a battle is guaranteed tomorrow, but because being in a state of readiness is their way of life. If you wait until the world around you is falling apart to start preparing your spirit, you've waited far too long. Your real preparation starts right now in how you greet the morning, how you speak to others and yourself, how you choose to spend your precious time, how you consciously select your thoughts. These things might seem small, insignificant, but they are the very bricks and mortar of your inner sanctuary, your inner temple. And when the winds of major change blow, only those temples built on a foundation of solid truth will remain standing. That whisper before the storm also puts our humility to the test. Many people think they're ready because they've hoarded knowledge, but knowledge without consistent practice is just a subtle form of arrogance. You might know 1,000 teachings, but are you actually living any of them? You might talk a good game about wisdom, but do you walk your talk with integrity? That whisper isn't delivered to your analytical mind, it's delivered to your spirit. And the spirit can only receive and carry what it's humble enough to bear. You absolutely must release that desperate need to be seen, that burning desire to always be right, that craving for praise and validation. All of these are just more noise, and noise always drowns out the quiet voice of truth. When June 30th arrives, the world will see what's been hidden for so long. But those who have diligently trained in inner silence, they won't be surprised, they won't panic. They'll simply take a deep breath and continue walking their path. Why? Because their direction isn't dictated by external signs but by deep inner alignment. Their strength doesn't come from a false sense of certainty about the future, but from consistent, daily discipline. Their peace doesn't come from the absence of problems, but from the unwavering presence of their inner purpose. And this, my friends, is what that whisper has always been about: purpose. The divine doesn't call you for its own entertainment, it calls you for your elevation, your growth. But genuine elevation requires that you bravely let go of what no longer serves your highest good. So many are crying out for change, but are still desperately clinging to what's old and familiar. They want transformation but refuse to surrender their comfort zones. You simply cannot rise if you're still holding on to everything that's weighing you down. That whisper is an invitation to release the fear, release the guilt, release the shame, release the old, tired story you keep telling yourself. Only then can you become light enough to truly rise. So, listen not just with your ears but with your entire spirit. Look not just with your eyes but with your deepest awareness. Walk not by what you see on the surface but by your inner alignment. If you feel that pull inside you, that undeniable sense that something profound is shifting, that something significant is about to be revealed, please do not ignore it. Do not put it off. Begin your inner work now. Return to your breath. Return to conscious discipline. Return to your own authentic truth. That whisper before the storm isn't something you chase after, it's something you become. And those who become it will not fear the storm, they will walk right through it, as if it were just a gentle breeze, because they have already been carried, sustained, by a much greater wind, the wind of the divine. True preparation doesn't kick in when the world finally sees the danger signs. It begins the moment your soul senses the shift. And what the untrained eye completely misses, the trained spirit has already felt, already known. There's a world of difference between just reacting to life's events and consciously aligning with the flow of life. When a person lives in reaction, they're always a step behind, always scrambling for stability, always thrown for a loop when change inevitably arrives. But when a person lives in alignment, they are never truly surprised. They might not know all the specific details, but they've already been gently warned through their intuition, through their dreams, through that subtle inner restlessness. That unease you might have been feeling, that nagging sense that something big is coming, something beyond your everyday control, that's not just anxiety, that's your spirit's way of preparing you. That's your soul whispering, hey, it's time to get ready. What happens on June 30th, 2025 isn't some random spontaneous event. It's a convergence, a powerful gathering of energies, of consequences, of truths and revelations that have been steadily building up for years, maybe even decades. The world might react as if it all happened suddenly out of the blue, but the wise will know this shift has been in motion for a very long time. The spiritual laws of cause and effect are never delayed, never put on hold. Every choice you've ever made, every intention you've set, every action you've repeated, it's all been recorded, all noted. The universe has never been asleep. You might not have seen the scales of balance adjusting, but they have always been moving towards equilibrium, and those scales tend to tip on these sacred, energetically charged days, not because a punishing God wants it, but because the fundamental laws of existence must be fulfilled. What you plant you will inevitably harvest. What you tolerate you eventually become. What you genuinely prepare for, you have the strength to navigate and survive. Preparation isn't a one-time event, it's a way of life, a lifestyle. The ones who are spiritually strong and centered on June 30th won't be those who suddenly wake up that morning and decide to change their lives. It will be those who have been quietly walking the long, often unseen path of dedicated inner work. It will be those who have been diligently disciplining their thoughts when no one was watching, those who chose to be kind even when the world around them was cruel, those who held on to their inner light even when darkness offered a seemingly comfortable hiding place. These are the souls who have been preparing, not because they feared some impending doom, but because they knew, deep down, they knew that when the winds of change finally shift, you must already have your feet firmly planted. You can't be fumbling around, learning how to stand while the storm is already raging around you. You must already be grounded, already centered. And how do you prepare? Not by frantically collecting more things, but by consciously releasing them. Not by building thicker outer walls, but by strengthening your inner core. So many are running in the same direction, chasing the same things. They gather wealth, fleeting relationships, status symbols, external recognition. But what is the real lasting value of these things? When the very vibration of the planet begins to rise, what good will your trophies be if your own spirit feels heavy, dense, and unprepared? You cannot outrun spiritual gravity. When the earth itself ascends to a higher frequency, only those with light hearts, clear spirits will rise with it. You must, absolutely must, let go of bitterness, of resentment, of all that unhealed pain you've been carrying. This is the real preparation. This is the essential cleansing, because when that energetic veil finally lifts, and it will, everything that's been hidden will become glaringly visible. You cannot fake inner peace. You cannot fake self-discipline. You cannot pretend to be in alignment if you're not. On that day, your energy, your very vibration, will speak far louder than any words you could ever utter. The world will react, it always does. It reacts to headlines, it reacts to crisis, it reacts to fear. But the spirit, the prepared spirit, does not react, the spirit prepares. The spirit understands that divine timing isn't dictated by the clock on the wall, but by energetic resonance. When the source indicated everything changes, it wasn't referring to your personal schedule, it was referring to your soul's unique timeline, its journey of evolution. There are seasons in your life that you don't consciously choose, they choose you. And this upcoming season, this period around June 30th, is not one for passive dreaming, it is one for decisive doing. It's not for the mind that merely wishes for change, it's for the soul that actively moves towards it. You must ask yourself, honestly, am I still making excuses? Am I still waiting for someone else's permission to live my truth? Am I still arguing with the reality that's being presented to me? Because, truly, the time for questioning and doubting has passed, the time for focused action is right now. Preparation will look different for everyone, because we're all unique. For some, it will mean finally choosing deep stillness over constant external stimulation. For others, it will mean bravely facing the pain they've buried for so long. For some, it's about decisively cutting energetic cords with people or situations that have been draining their life force. For others still, it's about finding the strength to forgive what seemed utterly unforgivable. These are not small, insignificant acts, these are profound revolutions within your own being. These are the very steps that build the kind of resilient inner world that doesn't collapse when the outer world inevitably begins to shift, and it will shift. Not to scare you, not to break you, but to reveal you, because all things hidden, all truth suppressed, will eventually rise to the surface. And when that great unveiling happens, you will clearly see two types of people: those who are terrified by the raw truth, and those who have diligently trained themselves in that truth. When a seed is planted in the earth, it doesn't cry out for sunlight. It inherently trusts that its growth is part of a natural, sacred cycle. It doesn't resist the darkness of the soil, it embraces it, knowing that the light is inevitably coming. In exactly the same way, your deepest preparation has likely been happening in quiet, unseen ways. Maybe you haven't been able to fully explain to others why you've felt different lately. Maybe your habits have been subtly changing without you consciously forcing them. Maybe you've lost interest in shallow conversations and surface-level interactions. Maybe you found yourself naturally withdrawing from drama, unnecessary noise, and pointless conflict. This is not mere coincidence, this is spiritual alignment in action. This is the deeper part of you, your soul, responding intelligently to the upcoming energetic change. It's as if your soul is already packing its bags for a journey that your conscious mind doesn't fully comprehend yet. And that's perfectly okay. Let your soul lead the way, let your mind learn to follow its wisdom. Many will try to cram their preparation in at the very last moment. They will rush to consume spiritual teachings, frantically try to fix deeply ingrained broken habits, desperately seek a quick fix to feel safe. But you cannot rush genuine alignment. You cannot microwave spiritual mastery. You cannot download self-discipline. These profound qualities are forged slowly, consistently, over time, in the fires of experience. And if you have already started on this path of inner work, even if you feel you're far from perfect, please understand this: you are already ahead of the wave. Keep walking, keep building, keep refining, because the vibrant energy of the new world, the new consciousness, cannot be carried by a self that stubbornly refuses to evolve. This shift isn't interested in who you pretend to be, it is only interested in who you truly, authentically are. And that truth within you is either free and expressive, or it's trapped and suppressed. The entire process of preparation is simply the sacred act of setting your own truth free. Every true warrior sharpens his sword long before any battle, not out of fear, but out of a deep sense of honor and responsibility. The spiritual warrior doesn't wait for external signs to get serious about their inner work. They are always ready, not because they desire conflict, but because genuine, lasting peace requires profound inner strength. On June 30th, that delicate balance of inner strength and inner peace will be thoroughly tested. Those who have cultivated no inner peace will be completely overwhelmed by the intensity of the energy. Those who have developed no inner strength will be paralyzed by the sheer speed and magnitude of the change. And so, you must train now. Train your thoughts to hold stillness. Train your emotions to respond with grace and wisdom. Train your body to carry discipline as a sacred practice. Train your spirit to trust the unseen, the guidance that comes from beyond the rational mind. Let go of the illusion that you have endless time. Time is never promised, but the power of presence is always available to you. And in true presence, all things become possible. Your future isn't waiting for you to idly wish for it, it's waiting for you to actively create it. You do not need to be perfect, you only need to be fully present. And from that state of deep presence, you must consciously build the daily habits that nourish your energy, build the healthy boundaries that protect your inner peace, build the sacred rituals that awaken your higher awareness. These are the very bricks of the unshakable foundation you will stand upon when everything around you begins to shift. And what about those who choose to ignore the call? What of those who mock the gentle whisper of their soul? Who say, nothing special will happen, it's just another ordinary day? These are the ones who will be profoundly shocked, not because they weren't warned, but because they actively refuse to listen. Denial does not protect you from the truth, it only delays your necessary preparation. And when truth finally arrives, it doesn't politely ask if you're ready, it simply reveals itself in its full intensity. If you have trained, you will see it as a wise teacher, an opportunity for growth. If you have not, you will see it as a terrifying threat. This isn't a threat from God, it's the natural consequence of your own resistance to growth and truth. So prepare not in fear but in reverence. Prepare not because disaster is lurking, but because a profound awakening is coming. Prepare not for the world's panicked reaction, but for your own soul's glorious expansion. There is a unique beauty that arrives when you are truly ready. There is a potent power that activates when you are deeply aligned. There is a profound peace that settles within you when you finally surrender to the divine flow. And this peace, this true peace, is not found in the external noise and chaos. It is found in your consistent practice, in your conscious breathing, in your cultivated stillness, in your sacred silence. Do not look to the outer world for signs of safety or security. True safety is not out there, it is within your own inner world. It's in how you consciously respond to chaos. It's in how you treat others, especially when no one is watching. It's in the courageous decisions you make when it would be far easier to just remain asleep. Every single step you take today builds your capacity to respond to tomorrow's test. Every moment you choose to rise in discipline prepares you to rise in energy. Every time you say a firm no to what drains your precious energy, you say a resounding yes to what prepares you for your highest destiny. There are fundamentally two ways to meet June 30th: with stunned surprise or with quiet certainty. The first path leads to confusion and fear. The second leads to clarity and empowerment. And that clarity doesn't come from trying to guess the future, it comes from diligently preparing your presence, your being right here, right now. The energy of that specific day is already approaching. The current is steadily building. You may not see it with your physical eyes, but your spirit, if you quiet down enough to listen, can definitely feel it. Honor that feeling. Do not numb it with distractions. Do not try to rationalize it away. Let it lead you to your inner training ground. Let it pull you deeper into your practice. Let it serve as a constant reminder what you do in the silence of your own being is never ever wasted. It is stored, it is remembered, it is multiplied. And when the world around you begins to shake, you will not, because you were not waiting for the world to tell you what was coming. You had already begun your work. You were not reacting. You were ready. You were not desperately seeking safety. You were standing firmly within it. There's a massive misunderstanding in our modern world about how genuine transformation actually happens. Many people believe that simply wanting change is enough, that setting intentions is enough, that declaring goals, writing them down, repeating affirmations, that all of this somehow obligates the universe to bend to their will. But the sacred laws of existence don't bow to mere intention, they bow to alignment. Energy doesn't follow what you wish for, it follows who you are, what you embody. When the source signaled that everything changes on June 30th, 2025, it wasn't a message for those who are merely hoping for the best. It was a clear signal to those who have actively aligned themselves with truth in their thoughts, in their words, and most importantly, in their actions. The critical mistake many make is assuming that having clarity of desire automatically equals a readiness of being. But the universe, the divine, the Tao, whatever you call that intelligent force, it doesn't listen to your surface wishes. It tunes into the actual vibration you consistently carry. You can say you want peace, yet live a life filled with internal and external chaos. You can say you want abundance, yet walk around steeped in a mindset of fear and lack. You can say you want transformation, but then steadfastly refuse the discipline required for it. This is the fundamental disconnection. This is why that divine whisper is only truly received by those whose daily habits, inner dialogues, and unspoken intentions are all harmonized into one coherent frequency. That clear frequency isn't found in mere positive thinking alone, it is discovered, cultivated, and stabilized through genuine alignment. Alignment isn't about pretending. It's not about trying to act spiritual. It's not about the external rituals you perform for others to see. True alignment is often invisible to the outer world, but is absolutely undeniable to the universe. You cannot trick energy. You cannot fake resonance. You either vibrate at the level of authentic truth, or you don't. And when that energetic portal, that opportunity for a quantum leap, opens on June 30th, 2025, it won't care one bit what you intended to become. It will only amplify what you already are. That is the great, unshakable spiritual truth. Energy amplifies alignment, not just words or wishes. Your personal energy field will be the key. The quality of your inner life, your inner state, will be the ultimate measure. This is precisely why true preparation isn't about speaking more spiritual jargon. It's about becoming more of your true, authentic self. If you say you want peace but you continually choose conflict in your thoughts and actions, you are misaligned. If you say you are ready for true abundance but you live in a constant state of scarcity thinking and feeling, you are misaligned. If you claim to be a light worker but you routinely engage in gossip, complaining, and holding on to resentment, you are misaligned. These are not trivial matters, these are significant spiritual fractures in your being. And when a flood of divine energy pours onto the planet, it naturally seeks coherence. It rewards those who are whole, who are integrated. It promotes those who are honest, not necessarily perfect, but deeply honest with themselves and others. The world often celebrates the loud, the overly ambitious, the perfectly polished exterior, but the divine lifts up the sincere, the truly aligned, the quietly disciplined. There's a sacred equation at work here: always your consistent thoughts, plus your consistent words, plus your consistent actions, equal your overall vibration. If your thoughts say, "I trust the process," but your words are filled with doubt and your actions are hesitant and fearful, your resulting vibration is one of confusion. If your thoughts declare, "I am ready for this change," but your words are defensive and your actions are impulsive and reactive, your vibration is one of dissonance. And no matter how often you repeat your positive intentions, no matter how beautifully you write them down on paper, if your very being is fractured and inconsistent, your energy will remain out of tune with the incoming higher frequencies of this shift. And when an energy field doesn't match the prevailing current, it gets left behind or at best experiences turbulence. The planet isn't just changing intellectually or politically, it is rising vibrationally. The changes that are coming are not designed to favor the merely clever or cunning, they will favor the genuinely aligned. This is why so many people who seem perfectly prepared on the outside will find themselves feeling overwhelmed and lost, while those who have quietly, diligently done the essential inner work will rise with grace and ease. There is a certain speed, a certain intensity to spiritual energy that only a still, centered heart can comfortably hold. There is a frequency so high, so refined, that only the truly humble can accurately tune into it. And on June 30th, when this powerful frequency intensifies across the globe, your personal level of alignment will not be something you can suddenly edit, control, or fake. It will be transparently revealed for all to see, and more importantly, for you to experience. Many will feel this as an intense pressure. They will feel exposed, vulnerable. Because when the vibration of pure truth rises, anything false, anything inauthentic, is inevitably forced to the surface to be seen and dealt with. This is the divine test, and it's not based on your outward performance but on the purity of your inner state. It won't ask how many spiritual books you read, it will ask, did you actually apply what you learned in your daily life? It won't ask how many followers you gained on social media, it will ask, how many times did you stay loyal to your inner truth when no one was watching, when it was inconvenient? It won't ask how loud your voice was in proclaiming your beliefs, it will ask, how still, how peaceful was your mind? Alignment is quiet, almost invisible, but its effects are absolutely seismic. There are three foundational pillars that build true, unshakable alignment: unwavering integrity, consistent discipline, and profound surrender. Integrity means you live in accordance with your deepest truth even when it costs you comfort or approval. You say no to what betrays your soul, even if saying yes would please others. You keep your word not just to other people, but crucially to yourself. Discipline means you consistently do what needs to be done for your growth, not just what feels good or easy in the moment. You rise early to connect with your inner self, even when your body craves more sleep. You consciously breathe through anger or frustration instead of reacting impulsively. You train your emotions, your focus, and your energy on a daily basis, like an athlete. And surrender means you release the illusion of control, not out of weakness, but out of deep trust in a higher wisdom. You stop trying to manipulate outcomes. You stop forcing your own timing on things. You align with the divine flow and walk with it, even when it doesn't make logical sense to your rational mind. Most people attempt to force energy. They try to hustle and grind their way into higher states of being. But force always creates friction and resistance. Flow, on the other hand, creates harmony and ease. You must learn to become the clear, open space where divine energy can flow freely, without obstruction. You must actively remove the blockages your ego's demands, your deep-seated fears, your old resentments, your habit of comparison, your impatience. These things constrict your vibration, they dim your light. And when the fundamental frequency of the world shifts upwards, constricted, heavy energy tends to collapse under the pressure. But when you are in true alignment, you are like a perfectly tuned flute, hollow of ego, pure in your intention, and ready to be played by the very breath of the divine, creating beautiful music. There is a sacred, divine timing unfolding, and just like a tree doesn't bloom out of season but at a specific, ordained time, so too does your soul have its seasons of growth and flowering. But you cannot rush your blooming, you must diligently water your roots. Your roots are your daily discipline. Your roots are your moments of profound silence. Your roots are the conscious choices you make in those unseen, quiet moments of your life. What you do when no one is watching, when there's no external reward, that determines your readiness for when everyone is watching, when the spotlight is on. And on June 30th, the light will not only shine on the earth, It will shine through you, revealing your inner state, or it will expose your lack of preparation. There will be no comfortable middle ground. Energy does not tolerate half-truths or inconsistencies. It either flows powerfully through clarity and coherence, or it stops dead at distortion and misalignment. That is why this very moment, this precious now, is your most important training ground, not tomorrow, not when you feel ready. Now, because the spiritual law is simple and unwavering, you rise to the level of your genuine alignment, not your grand desires. You receive according to your actual preparation, not your eloquent declarations. And you will be tested not by what you say you believe, but by who you have actually become. You must ask yourself with brutal honesty, have I become the kind of person, the kind of energetic container who can gracefully carry this next level of truth, power, and responsibility? Or am I still secretly hoping the external world will magically change while I remain comfortably the same? You are not waiting for some external energy to arrive. That energy is already here, and it is waiting for you to be ready for it. The divine current has always been flowing. The real question is, can you hold it? Are you a worthy, clear container, or are you still unconsciously leaking your precious life force through unexamined habits, scattered attention, and emotional reactivity? Your ability to consciously hold and direct energy is a direct measure of your spiritual maturity. And spiritual maturity has nothing to do with chronological age. It is about awareness, about taking full accountability for your inner state, about choosing evolution over ego again and again and again, even when it hurts, especially when it hurts. On June 30th, the divine pulse, the heartbeat of the cosmos, will intensify. Some will rise with ease because their internal structure, their inner temple, is strong and well built. Others will shake and crumble because their foundation was built on illusion, on shifting sands. You must build your inner temple, and now, not with bricks and mortar, but with conscious breath, not with abstract theories, but with consistent, grounded actions. You must diligently clean the windows of your mind so you can see clearly. You must thoroughly sweep the floors of your soul, clearing out old debris. You must courageously open the doors of your heart to let the pure light of truth flood in. Because energy, sacred, divine, and intensely real, does not enter into chaos, it enters into order. Not the rigid order of control, but the flowing, harmonious order of true alignment. This alignment requires profound honesty, a brutal, yet deeply loving honesty with yourself. You must look at your life, at your patterns, at your inner world, and ask the hard questions. Where am I still out of tune with my deepest truth? Where am I still pretending, wearing a mask? Where am I still choosing fleeting comfort over genuine, lasting growth? The answers will not always be pleasant to hear, but they hold the keys to set you free. You cannot heal what you steadfastly deny. You cannot align with a truth that you refuse to face. But when you do, when you see yourself clearly, with all your imperfections, and love yourself deeply enough to commit to real change, the entire universe shifts in your favor. Not because it is arbitrarily rewarding you, but because you have finally, truly become resonant with its natural rhythm, its harmonious flow. And this is the final, crucial key. Alignment is not a one-time achievement, a destination you arrive at, and then you're done. It is something you return to, again and again, moment by moment. Each breath is a fresh opportunity to return. Each conscious choice is a new chance to tune yourself, like a master musician tunes their precious instrument. And just like a finely crafted stringed instrument, you don't tune it once and then forget about it. You must tune it daily, with loving care, with focused attention, with heightened awareness. Because the music you play, the quality of the life you live, depends entirely on your consistent, conscious tuning. When that sacred day, June 30th, arrives, the world will not change you. It will simply, powerfully reveal you. The flood of heightened energy will not magically create your alignment. It will magnificently magnify what is already there. And so, the most important, most vital work you can possibly do is not to hope for the best, not to fear the worst, but to consciously, diligently align. Not in theory, but in daily practice. Not for applause, but for truth. Not to impress anyone, but to fully express your authentic self. Not from a place of fear of the future, but from a place of deep reverence for the sacred power of the present moment. Because in the end, when the storms of change blow, it will not be your lofty goals or your good intentions that carry you through. It will be your groundedness. It will be your inner silence. It will be your unwavering alignment.